Hi again to everyone, and welcome to our second part of the orientation. So in this part now, we will proceed with quantitative research, no, on how you will be uh, adhering to the ethical guidelines and compliance items. So we'll return once again now with the research ethics assessment form. So you will be filling out the same fields, no? For the date of submission, just type down or write down, no, the date of submission and then the program or institute of the researcher. For example, ITED Humes, DSED Filipino. And for the control number, once again, you have to leave this blank, no? Because only the research staff will be responsible in filling out this control number. For the researcher's information, so you will follow this format. First down, no, is your last name, no, or your family name, and the second one is your given name. So separated by comma and space, and the last item, no, here is your middle name, if you have any middle name. If wala kay middle name, so just leave this one blank. And for the study title, just write down the title, no, of your study, the complete title, and the participants or materials, just articulate the who are the participants, how many are the participants, and where are you planning to get the participants. In this case, we have here 14 English professors in a local college. Now, for the quantitative sample lang ni siya ha. For quantitative research, let's reboot this one. No? So we will be using the study of butal, no? So quantitative study ni siya about sa implementation of blended learning and modality and the satisfaction of students. So in this segment now, we'll start, of course, with item number one, the nature and purpose of the study. So here in the nature and purpose of the study, you have to look this one here in the research objectives. So it's the research objectives now. So the goal of this study is to scrutinize the relationship between blended learning modality and the satisfaction of students in KCAST. Just remove lang this what you call this one, parenthesis, no? Pair of parentheses. So instead of using acronym, just spell this out. Kapalong College of Agriculture, Sciences and Technology. To be specific, this study sought to answer the following objectives. So the objectives now must be answered so that to determine the level of quality in regards to the implementation. I guess this is better rephrased this way. Kadali lang. Masaling koloran di I forgot. Again, our legends no for the coloring segment no is kung green siya, revised siya na part specifically, and kung yellow, emphasized lang siya na part. So to determine the level of quality, perceived quality na lang siya, no? To determine the perceived quality of the implementation of blended learning, modality. Okay, so edited na part for college students from all programs. From all programs. Paano na siya? College students in general. Pwede man din lang natin ibutang no, the goal of this study is to scrutinize the relationship between blended learning modality and the satisfaction of uh, college students across all programs. College students across all programs. So perceived quality of the implementation, of college students. So in this, in per item, you do not need anymore to mention the institution. Just mention broadly lang the college students. Then we have here the following indicators for this one. And number two is to determine the level of student satisfaction with blended learning modality. Student satisfaction with blended learning modality. So since you have mentioned already the student, no? So just delete lang to determine the level of student satisfaction with blended learning modality in terms of the following indicators. So clear na siya and specific. Third is to determine the significant relationship between the implementation of blended learning modality and the satisfaction of students. And lastly, to determine which domain of the implementation of blended learning modality significantly influences the satisfaction of students. So, clear naman siya, therefore, yes, okay na ta diri ang part. Now, let's move into the research, the population and sample. So let me just note it here. Research objectives or SOP, statement of the problem. Objectives lang akong ibutang dere. Objectives and SOP. So dere, ato na ta dere sa population and sample. Population and sample. Give me few minutes now to go here in this part. Okay. So the respondents of this study will include college students from all programs in KCAST during the second semester. So very important na you mention who really are the respondents unsang ilahang category, if only this program ba or all programs bang i-appeal, the name of the school, the semester when the study was conducted. So ano fiscal year pa man dapat AY na siya or academic year. Okay, so you have to mention the semester, the academic year para nga specific jud siya kanus aba jud ning study na conduct. Another is the justification. They were chosen as the respondents because the study is about the implementation. And since the study's purpose involves student satisfaction, it would be fitting and valid to include students from all programs in KCAST. So very good. Na siya justification on why why kani sila na respondents ang sana siya ang appropriate. The sampling method, stratified random sampling. No. So, na siya authored na discussion from Etikan and Bala. So, aside from mentioning the sampling method, you also have to justify why the sampling method is appropriate. So, the stratified random sampling is particularly appropriate. So selected man good sila based on a strata. And another argument here is that all of the respondents in the population have equal chances of being selected. That is why stratified random sampling siya. So the steps also on how you will get the the population. So to compute for the sample, the researcher will gather first the data on the population of respondents through writing a formal request letter to the college registrar. So give document nila giunsa nila pagkuha atong sample. So of course gikuha pa nila ang population by writing a formal request letter to the college registrar to request access to the population of the intended respondents. After getting the data from the college registrar, the researchers then forwarded the data to their statistician to compute the sample. In other words, the researcher is not the one who computed for the sample, but it is his designated statistician. So now, okay, so wala pa nabutang diri ang data. So kinahanglan naa na diri tanan ang katong data sa population sa sample para na makita dyan nato ang kuan, makita dyan nato ang feasibility sa study ba. So after the data, no, you have to input textual discussion, on the figures presented in the table, figures or numbers presented in the table. So kani butangan lang nako ni siya og red diri kay wala man siya natuman ang kuan. Wala man siya natuman ang dapat na diri. All right, so after evaluating this part, so nalang tay kulang diri therefore no sa ta. Pero kung nana tong table diri okay na kaayo ni siya. Now let's go to the ethical considerations na part. So sa ethical considerations na part, naani siya diri sa chapter 2. So kung tahay risk, no, so naani siya diri sa risk from harm, anonymity and confidentiality. So RHAC ni siya, RHAC. So the researcher made sure to emphasize the respondents that their safety, identity, and personal information would be protected and that their participation would be important to them. For the purpose of creating an error-free, the researcher removes identifies from the data, identities from the data, a clean data collection doesn't contain data that could be used, no, such as names or addresses. So mostly siya sa confidentiality ni siya. Confidentiality. So check na ta diri sa confidentiality. Pero wala siya risk, no? So ang risk na to diri ato siyang let's put it this way. There is possible risk of harm in terms of there is possible risk of harm in terms of sa mga risks in terms of social liabilities when the data is carefully disclosed to others. As such, data of the study shall be maintained private and secured. So, ana na siya, no? Private and secured to avoid this incident from happening. So dere makita na nato dere class, no, ang possible risk. So naa siya enumeration sa possible risk as well as on how it will be addressed. So connected lang day gihapon siya sa nato ni siya ma-connect sa confidentiality. So kung makuha na nato ning risk o makuha na po nato ang confidentiality. Okay, so ato na siyang butang. The researcher made sure to emphasize to the respondents of their safety, identity, and personal information. Ibutang na lang po nato diri sa confidentiality, no, na data shall be stored and destroyed 3 years after the study is accomplished. So para na makuan nato siya, ma-justify nato siya. Now, for the beneficence, moadto lang ta ani sa significance of the study. So, if naa dito ang naa dito na cite properly ang significance of the study diri na cite properly diri ang general importance kinsa ang beneficiaries, okay na kaayo na siya. So, tarongon lang nato explain. Permission to record the interviews is wala man tay interviews, no, na i-conduct. NA ni siya. Pasabot ana, dili na to siya i-comply sa quantitative kay dili man siya applicable. Wala man tay interviews. Now, diri ata sa right to terminate participation, right to refuse. Balik na po ta diri a class sa ethical considerations. So, naa siya diri as a concept. Okay, so idungag na lang nato ni siya. Okay? During the informed consent process, dali na to idugang class ha. The participants, the respondents will also be oriented on the following rights that they have. The respondents shall be informed that they have the right to terminate participation without any need of explanation. They also have the right to refuse to answer sensitive questions. Another right that they have is the entitlement to ask questions about the study. Lastly, they also have the rights to be informed of the study results after this research is accomplished. So, ana lang class, dali ra kayo siya. Ibutang lang nato ni siya ng mga provisions para na mo pasarta sa ethics. So, check, 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 and check. Now, since na may isa ka no diri class or kulang, pasabot ana diri as ubos, ang verdict nato diri ano is partially complied lang ta. This is only partially complied because naa may kulang. And by partially complied, pasabot ana is mobalik no, mag-print usab, mag-edit usab, mobalik usab si researcher para ipa-reassess ang iyahang paper. Until such time na makompleto na ang 10 compliance items, this is the time na ma-okay na siya. So I guess this concludes the the process no for quantitative research. And please ko study ani no para nga dili na ta magbalik-balik sa ethical compliance. So, thank you everyone for listening. God bless and good luck with your research journey.